welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to get into some seriously cool art history today?
Always.
All right, well, today we're going to be tackling Triumphs of Caesar by Andrea Mantegna. And,
Yeah.
it's funny because, when you think about Roman triumphs, you think of, these big celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, that's kind of what these paintings are about.
Yeah.
But Mantegna takes us so far beyond that basic understanding into the details. And I think it gives us a really fascinating look at how they thought about these events.
It's like getting into the mindset of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Like how they looked back at Roman history.
Totally.
And then how they used that history to shape their own worldview.
I love that. And the main source that we're going to be looking at today is the National Gallery in London.
Mm-hmm.
They have 6 of the 9 paintings on display right now.
Wow.
And they also have a Rubens painting, which is a response to Mantegna's work.
Oh, cool.
But even if you can't, hop on a plane and go to London, we're going to try to bring these paintings to life for you today.
We're going to try our best.
So what do you say we just jump right in?
Let's do it.
All right. So first of all, these paintings, they're not 9 separate scenes.
Right.
They're one continuous procession
Yeah.
across 9 canvases.
Uh-huh.
And they're huge. So it's this massive...
It's incredible.
Yeah, spectacle.
Yeah, so if you can picture yourself walking into this grand hall, right? And all of a sudden you're confronted with these canvases.
Yeah.
And it's just this massive procession with hundreds of figures, all meticulously painted, and each one telling a story.
I'm hooked already. All right, so give me the visual details. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so it's a celebration of Julius Caesar's victories in the Gallic Wars.
Okay.
Like I said, hundreds of figures, all these amazing details. You've got trumpeters announcing the arrival of the procession, soldiers carrying trophies and banners.
Wow.
Even elephants.
No way.
It's this incredible snapshot of a moment in time.
Yeah.
Captured with these vibrant colors and just unbelievable realism.
I read that, the first canvas, the trumpeters, is just enormous.
No, yeah, it's huge.
What are the dimensions on that one?
I think it's almost 9 feet tall and over 9 feet wide.
Wow.
So, can you imagine the impact that would have on viewers back then?
Yeah.
He was really trying to make a statement with the sheer size of these works.
I mean, this wasn't just a painting.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
Absolutely an experience. You're not just observing this procession.
Yeah.
You are a part of it.
Right.
And he uses perspective so brilliantly to draw you right in.
Uh-huh.
You feel surrounded by the energy and the movement of it all.
And it's interesting, too, because Mantegna wasn't just some random artist who was interested in ancient Rome.
Right.
He was the court painter for the Gonzaga family in Mantua.
Exactly. One of the most powerful families in Renaissance Italy.
And they were obsessed with the classical world.
Oh, yeah. They totally saw themselves as the heirs to the Roman Empire. And Mantegna's paintings played a key role in reinforcing that image.
So it wasn't just about creating beautiful art.
Yeah.
It was about power. It was about projecting this image look at us.
Exactly.
We are as grand and powerful as the Romans were.
Exactly. They would have been displayed in the Gonzaga Palace.
Yeah.
Making a statement about their wealth, their taste, their connection to this glorious past.
It's this fascinating intersection between art and politics, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
There's this one detail in the trumpeters that I always find so intriguing.
Okay.
Mantegna places a young black soldier very prominently in the foreground.
Yes.
Almost as if he's leading the procession.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about the significance of that?
Well, that's a detail that sparked a lot of debate.
Yeah.
You have to remember that the Roman Empire was vast and multicultural.
Right.
It stretched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East.
Yeah.
So one interpretation is that Mantegna is subtly acknowledging that diversity, reminding viewers of the reach of Roman power.
It's so interesting that he would choose to include that figure so prominently.
Yeah.
Here's this artist working for one of the most powerful families in Renaissance Italy.
Yeah.
And he makes this artistic choice that adds another layer of complexity to how we understand the painting and its context.
Absolutely. It raises important questions about how we interpret art from the past.
Yeah.
And the challenges of understanding historical perspectives.
Totally. But before we go down that rabbit hole, I think it's worth mentioning how these paintings ended up in England.
Yeah.
Because their journey is a story in itself.
It is.
So tell me, how did these paintings go from Italy to England?
Well, it all starts with another powerful figure with a passion for art, King Charles I.
Okay.
He was an English king during the 17th century and a big admirer of Italian art.
Oh, wow.
And so in 1629, he managed to acquire a significant portion of the Gonzaga collection,
Wow.
including the triumphs of Caesar.
So they were considered like really valuable prizes even back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like a Renaissance art heist.
Right.
But, with a royal seal of approval.
Yeah, exactly. And so where were they displayed?
So originally they were at Hampton Court Palace.
Oh, cool.
Can you imagine walking through those halls?
Yeah.
And just coming face to face with these massive canvases?
That would be incredible.
It must have been an incredible sight.
Yeah.
But they're not actually at Hampton Court right now.
Oh, they're not?
No. So the gallery where they were displayed
Okay.
is undergoing a major renovation.
Okay.
And it's expected to be completed in 2026.
All right.
So in the meantime, 6 of the 9 canvases are on loan to the National Gallery.
That's awesome.
Which gives us this really unique opportunity to see them in a different setting.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of a different setting,
Okay.
remember we mentioned Rubens?
Yes. Peter Paul Rubens, the rock star.
The rock star of the 17th century art world.
What was his connection to Mantegna?
So Rubens was completely inspired by the triumphs.
So much so that he created his own artistic response called a Roman triumph.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually now displayed alongside Mantegna's work at the National Gallery.
Really?
It's this brilliant curatorial decision.
Yeah.
You can really see how Rubens, who was a master in his own right, interpreted and reimagined this classical theme centuries later.
I love that. It's like this ripple effect of influence through time.
Exactly. It really highlights the enduring power of these images.
Yeah.
They've captivated and inspired artists and audiences for centuries.
Right.
And they've prompted all this reflection on themes that are still relevant today.
And that's what I love so much about art history. It's like these works, they're more than just pretty pictures. They're windows into different times and mindsets.
They really are. And with the triumphs of Caesar, we're getting a glimpse into the Renaissance worldview.
Totally.
Remember how we talked about their fascination with classical antiquity?
Yeah.
Well, these paintings go beyond just depicting a historical event.
They actually reflect this deep admiration that the Renaissance humanists had for Roman culture.
Okay.
And their desire to bring back its glory.
So he wasn't just recreating a scene from Roman history.
Right.
He was also making a statement about his own time.
Exactly. Like, look what we in the Renaissance are capable of.
Yeah.
It embodies that spirit perfectly.
Yeah.
The paintings are visually stunning.
Yeah.
They're historically grounded and intellectually stimulating.
So it's that perfect Renaissance blend.
Exactly. The blend of art and intellect.
Yeah, but what was it about Roman triumphs specifically that resonated so much with the Renaissance?
Well, think about it. A Roman triumph was like the ultimate display of power and victory. It was a way for a general to show off their military achievements, their influence, and their wealth.
Like a propaganda machine.
Exactly. A propaganda machine on a grand scale.
Yeah.
And that idea of projecting power through spectacle,
that
would have really appealed to those Renaissance rulers who were always competing for influence and prestige.
Yeah.
Art was like a powerful tool in that game.
So these paintings weren't just a celebration of Caesar.
No.
They were also a subtle way for the Gonzagas to assert their own power and legitimacy.
Yeah, like they were saying, we are the heirs to this legacy.
And anyone who saw those paintings in their palace would have understood that message.
Exactly. It's a fascinating example of how art can be used to shape narratives and reinforce power structures.
It really makes you think about all those layers of meaning.
It does.
Embedded in a work of art.
Absolutely. And the triumphs really exemplifies that.
Yeah.
But beyond the political stuff, they also offer these amazing insights into the whole Renaissance mindset.
Okay.
So we've talked about their admiration for Roman culture.
Right.
But their emphasis on human potential.
Okay.
And achievement is also obvious in these paintings.
Okay, humanism.
Yeah.
How does that tie into the triumphs of Caesar?
Well, humanism was this big shift away from the medieval focus on the divine.
Right.
Towards a more human-centered worldview. It was about celebrating human intellect, creativity.
Okay.
Our ability to shape the world.
Okay.
And Mantegna, while he's depicting a historical event, he does it in a way that emphasizes the human drama and emotion of it all.
So it's not just about Caesar as this distant figure.
Yeah.
It's about the people in the procession, their expressions, their individual stories.
You feel a connection to them even after all these centuries.
Yeah.
That's what makes Mantegna so brilliant. He doesn't just paint figures, he brings them to life.
Yeah.
You can see the weariness of the soldiers, the fear in the eyes of the prisoners,
Right.
the pride in the faces of those carrying trophies.
Oh, yeah.
It's that attention to human emotion and individuality
Right.
that really speaks to that humanist spirit of the Renaissance.
So it's like he's saying, look, these were real people living their lives, experiencing a range of emotions just like we do today.
Exactly. And that human element is what makes these paintings so relatable.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even after all this time.
Okay, so we've got this awesome blend of Renaissance values, reverence for the classical world, attention to detail, and this emphasis on humanism. And they're all woven together in these paintings.
Yeah. It's amazing that they've survived for so long to give us this glimpse into the past.
But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I'm curious about their legacy.
Okay.
Why do they still captivate us today?
Well, I think it goes back to that idea of spectacle and power.
Okay.
You know, Roman triumphs were meant to awe and overwhelm people.
Yeah.
To project that image of unstoppable force.
Right.
And Mantegna really captures that.
Yeah, and you really get a sense of that just by looking at the paintings.
Yeah. And the themes are so timeless. Power, victory, public display.
Yeah.
Those are still things we grapple with today.
Yeah. It's funny because it makes me think about our obsession with celebrities.
Yeah. And how we present ourselves on social media. It's all about creating a spectacle.
It is.
Projecting an image.
We may not be wearing togas and laurel wreaths anymore.
Right.
But those basic human impulses.
Yeah.
They haven't really changed that much.
And so in a way, Mantegna gives us this lens to examine our own relationship with power and spectacle.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to think that paintings from 500 years ago can still be so relevant today.
I agree. It's the power of great art.
Yeah.
It goes beyond time and place.
Right.
And it speaks to something fundamental about being human.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Mantegna's Triumphs of Caesar, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question.
All right, I like it.
So we've talked about how these paintings reflect the Renaissance worldview, but how might they inform our understanding of power, spectacle, and cultural memory today?
Well, that's a good question. It makes you think about how different societies throughout history have used these big displays and all this imagery to sort of like bolster their authority.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder if those impulses are still at play in our modern world, even if they're expressed differently.
It's like even though we've traded chariots for like motorcades, the human desire to be impressed hasn't really changed.
Not really, no. Like, think about all those elaborate ceremonies we still have.
Yeah.
Like inaugurations, state dinners, award shows.
Yeah.
They're all about creating a sense of occasion, projecting an image of power and importance.
And it's like today's spectacle makers, they're using all sorts of new tricks to try and get our attention.
Oh, yeah.
Like music and lighting, carefully crafted narratives, social media buzz.
Right. It's about creating an unforgettable experience, one that will stick with you.
And it's just fascinating to see how those themes kind of like transcend time.
Yeah.
You know, Mantegna's paintings might show us a Roman triumph from centuries ago, but they also give us this way to look at our own relationship with spectacle and how power is shown and understood in our world.
I think that's a really good point. It reminds us that art isn't just about what looks pretty.
Right.
It's about ideas.
Right.
It's about thinking about what it means to be human.
Totally.
And sometimes those reflections, they can make us see the world in a completely new way.
Yeah, for sure.
We start making these connections between things that seem totally different.
Yeah.
Like different times and places.
Exactly. And the Triumphs of Caesar are a perfect example of that.
Right.
It might be over 500 years old. But the questions they ask about power spectacle and how we remember the past, they're still so relevant to us.
They are.
So for everyone listening, I definitely encourage you to look up these paintings online.
Yes.
Just to get a sense of their scale and their detail and like the power they have.
And if you ever get the chance to see them in person.
Oh, yeah.
At Hampton Court Palace when they're all back together.
Yes.
You should definitely do it.
It's an amazing experience to see them firsthand.
There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
You're just drawn into Mantegna's world.
Totally. And who knows?
Yeah.
You might even make your own connections to our modern world.
Right. You might start seeing echoes of those Roman triumphs and the spectacles that we have today.
That's what's so cool about art.
It is.
It gives you those aha moments, those unexpected connections that help you understand the world a little bit better.
I totally agree.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.
See you next time.